What's up again, guys? This is Austin for the Coach's Compound. Today we're going to talk about my top 5 picks of what a coach should listen to for a podcast. Tune on in. So in my opinion, a coach should always be learning. And nowadays we have an incredible way to do that for free outside of this channel, of course. And that is through podcasts. Podcasts are extremely accessible, extremely easy. You put it on during your commute to work. You put it on during your downtime at the gym, whatever it may be. But it kind of lets us dive into this realm of entertainment/learning. Okay? So now we're going to go over my top 5 picks. And these kind of go over both coaching, being a business owner, as well as just lifestyle in general. Before I go over all these, realize that these are not in any particular order. Number 1 does not mean I like it more than number 2. It just, I decided to put it first. Okay? So, number 1 would be the Active Life podcast. Dr. Sean does a great job at inviting some incredible guests to talk about nutrition, gym ownership, coaching, fitness in general, whatever it may be. And if you know Dr. Sean, he's a very blunt, straightforward guy, and it makes it great for any podcast listener. Because when it comes down to entertainment over the phone, we want it quick, and we want it to be nice and fast, cut and dry, to the point. So Active Life podcast, thumbs up. Now, number 2, this one kind of goes specifically towards the gym ownership side of it, but it can also delve into a gym manager, head coach, whatever it may be. It is the 3-2-1 Go podcast. This is hosted by Matt Scanlon, does a very good job of producing content weekly and doing the things that are necessary to teach gym owners, managers, whatever it may be, what's your bottom line, how to increase your membership, your attention, how to add personal training, whatever it may be. They do a phenomenal job at teaching business owners how to actually run their business. Number 3 is the Brut Strength podcast, which is hosted by Michael Cazayoux. He is one of the head coaches as well of Brut, kind of the Brut Strength. If you're ever on Instagram and you see like Brut Strength or Adrian Conway talking about something, it is that gym and kind of that name. So in the Brut Strength podcast, Michael is a previous strength and conditioning coach in college. So he brings on some really great strength and conditioning coaches, which usually CrossFitters don't also learn from the strength and conditioning realm. So it's very useful. But he also brings on his wife, Adi Cazayoux, who's great with nutrition. He's brought on previous games athletes or games athletes currently. Like I said, strength and conditioning coaches. Just an overall great podcast he kind of specializes in the mindset of things as well, which is a great way for athletes to increase their game or coaches to increase their game as well. So overall, very good podcast, the Brut Strength podcast. Number 4 is the Doc and Jock Podcast. This is hosted by Joe Sheminski and Dr. Danny Matta. If I pronounce those names wrong, I'm sorry, guys. But man, I've been listening to this podcast since like day 1. And seeing their progression through it all has been awesome. They've had some incredible people on their podcast in which I have learned a lot about rehab sciences, about coaching, about gym ownership, about just life in general. Super good podcast. As you can tell, I'm kind of passionate about this one, mostly because like I kind of started my podcast listening journey like with this podcast, and I've seen them progress through now like I think it's like 200 plus podcasts or something like that now. So definite thumbs up for the Doc and Jock podcast. Super good one. And number 5, this is kind of the one that delves into, it doesn't have to do with coaching in general or fitness, but it definitely does talk about it from time to time. Like every other 3 million listeners he has, is the Tim Ferriss podcast, or the Tim Ferriss Show. So, Tim Ferriss, his podcasts can range from mindset, money, fitness, gambling, like there was one on poker. There are just such a wide range of people that he brings on. And if you don't know anything about Tim Ferriss, he kind of calls himself the human guinea pig, tries to learn everything. He gets like the best people in each realm and tries to learn from them. So, in particular, with the strength conditioning / fitness realm, he brings on some incredible people like Coach Sommers from Gymnastics Bodies, Charles Poliquin, who is one of the best strength conditioning coaches like the world has ever known, and just some incredible people to learn fitness from, as well as just his lifestyle kind of brand and how he brings on other people that are highly motivational, very, very fun to listen to, and you can learn a lot from it. You can go through like his 400 podcast list or whatever and kind of just pick out what seems interesting to you. So Tim Ferriss Show gets a thumb up. Well, that's it, guys. That's my 5 podcasts that I think every coach / gym owner should listen to. To kind of reiterate that, we had the Active Life podcast. We had the 3-2-1 Go podcast. We had the Brut Strength podcast. Doc and Jock. Tim Ferriss. Go check those out on your podcast list or on iTunes. I think they're online as well. But once again, if you're a coach or a gym owner or want to be either of those and you're not listening to podcasts, you are behind the curve on this. So whatever it may be, swallow your pride or just get the podcast app, go listen to it, and go become a better coach. Okay? Remember, guys, stop searching, start coaching.